Good morning. I'm so happy to see you guys. And thanks for your patience. And a couple of people have been like, oh my God, did you abandon your LinkedIn Live? And the answer is no. But I have taken a hiatus, and that was due to a move and some other things. But I also have a new schedule, which I'll share at a later point in time. What you need to know is that we're here today. We're here today with a woman who has literally taken LinkedIn by storm. And part of the reason why that has happened is because Jen Laffin, it rhymes with ravine, is someone who has helped all of us, especially me, with accountability. Even when I was moving, I like just put it out there like I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. And what happened was like midweek, she checked in with me. And I was so happy that I had a partner in crime to hold me accountable. What we're going to talk about today is how to go from those excuses to empowerment through the channel of accountability. And wow, here she is. Jen, thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving away so much love in the form of accountability. And I know I can say this for myself. I need you. I need you because even if it's just on the platform, it's just one more offering to actually address what I have called the battle within, right? Like, oh, I want to do the thing. I don't want to do the thing. I want to do the thing. I don't want to do the thing. So do us a favor and give us a little bit of a explanation about why of all the areas of coaching, you decided to focus in on accountability. Tell us why.
That is a great question because when people hear accountability, they tend to want to run in the other direction because I don't really think people like accountability, but they like the results that happen when they are accountable. And I chose this niche because I saw such a great need. I saw so many people's dreams dying because they were just letting things slide. And we know that for small business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, we know that so many businesses fail within the first 5 years. And I honestly think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we don't have accountability. So it's kind of my mission.
Job seekers too, right? So
yes.
like I know that that's your focus, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs.
Yes.
But honestly, this is a through line for all of us, whether you're an athlete and blow off workouts, or whether it's a teacher and you just postpone grading papers, whatever that is, there's a level of universal struggle with accountability. So
we all struggle with it.
So you're saying like you knew that this was an issue, you knew this is an issue, but what I didn't know and what I am so excited for you to talk about are the three reasons why accountability goes sideways. Why is it that we all have this craving and at the same time the resistance, and what do we get wrong about accountability?
Well, people think about accountability and they think that that comes with a lot of blame and shame and guilt. And the way I do accountability is we don't allow any of that to play along. We don't have to take it along with us. And so we're going to make a conscious choice not to. We're just going to make a good faith look at where we're at, how we got there, and figure out how we can move ourselves forward, because guilt and shame and blame, those just hold us back to our past selves. We want to get on to our future selves.
So what we talked about too is that the roadblocks, like one of the biggest roadblocks that gets in the way of us staying accountable is something that I thought was shocking, because I always thought if I want to stay accountable, I should make my goals or my to-dos really low. I should set a low bar.
Sure.
Because then I'll get them done, right? And then I'll be accountable.
Right.
Why is that faulty thinking?
That is, I see that as faulty thinking. And one of the things that I see so many people do, which causes them to struggle with accountability and with getting things done, is they set their goals too low. Okay. When we set our goals too low, in something that's doable. We're not challenging ourselves, but we're also not lighting ourselves up. And we don't feel any passion or drive to really go for those big things. So that I would say would be the first thing that I'm seeing out there is people just setting their goals too low. They're setting them reasonable, like what they think is reasonable.
Oh my God. This is like a double whammy. Get unreasonable with, your goals and accountability.
Yes.
That's like, it's so weird that I thought that was bad because you might be setting yourself up for quote unquote failure.
Ooh, there's one of those words that goes along with guilt and shame. Like we don't allow failure. Failure is all a mindset. To me, the only way to fail is to quit. If you start out working on your higher goal and it really lights you up and gives you that passion and that energy for it, you are going to show up to do the things you need to do to make it happen without a doubt. Okay. So stop setting your goals reasonably and what you've been conditioned to believe that you can achieve and start being unrealistic. Start thinking about the impossible, whether that's that ideal job that you're out there to get or something that you want to create with your business. Dream away and then let's go do it.
Oh my God. Like permission.
Permission granted. Yeah. Give yourself permission for sure.
And I love this so much because also when we're working with our clients at Portfolio Rocket, part of our responsibility is the accountability and encouraging, of course, that growth mindset, which says, yeah, okay, that didn't work out. What did we learn? How could we reiterate? How could we evolve? How could we like really learn from this? And I know that there's a big portion of accountability that is also really, really tied in to this kind of faulty thinking, right? Thinking that whether it's failure or whether it's I'm just not hireable or whatever that is starts to get in the way. So help us understand what the paradigm shift is here, because I think that there's a lot that you said in one of your kind of most famous Laffin quotes. So please share that here.
So what we don't understand is that as humans, we are designed to stay in our comfort cave. Some of you may know that as your comfort zone. I call it a comfort cave because it goes way, way, way back to when we were cavemen and cave dwellers and had to do things that would pretty much keep us alive. We don't live in that kind of environment anymore, but our brain, the part of our brain, the primal brain, hasn't caught up yet. It hasn't figured out that there's really nothing to fear by leaving your comfort cave. So when we try to leave our comfort cave, what that part of our brain does, the primal brain, is it sends us doubt. It sends us the urge to procrastinate. It sends us fear, and not the kind of fear like life-threatening fear, but just like the fear of like, you're going to fail and everybody's going to make fun of you when you do. Everybody's going to notice. So just don't even do it and stay back in your comfort cave. We need to own that we are the decision makers in our life and that we can decide for ourselves. And we can say, I am going for this because it is something that I am passionate about and something that I truly want to do. And I'm going to learn how to doubt my doubt, which is something that I also talk a lot about.
Doubt your doubt. I find it so fascinating when you said this, because I don't hear a lot of people saying, and, I'm going to trust my truth. In those situations, I mean, yes, you can say, I speak my truth, right? But in those moments where you're maybe on the fence, in your comfort cave and want to get out of it, the first inclination is to start doubting yourself. So I love this idea of doubting your doubt.
Yes.
At least get curious about your doubt. I mean, at the minimum, like start to move away from the investment of drilling down into the doubt and this and this, this, right?
And then it explodes. And then before you know it, like you're just feeling all kinds of doom and gloom. And let's face it, when we feel doom and gloom, we don't want to do anything.
Totally.
Right.
And I think that this also, of course, is like the connected cousin to scarcity mindset, right?
Absolutely.
It's like we know that those two things are are deeply related.
Absolutely.
So one of the other reasons, and I think this one's a little bit more obvious, is what people do when they are up against whatever that resistance is, or here we are and we know that we said this. And I love that you talked about this thing called the snooze button. So tell us about this third place where we also run into roadblocks to execute on accountability.
Yes. What I see is we are letting ourselves off the hook too easily. We are letting those goals slide. We are letting those little tasks go undone because we think nobody's going to see us. So it doesn't matter if I procrastinate on this. It doesn't matter if I push this off. It doesn't matter if I lower my goal because nobody really knows. But here's the thing. Your future self knows. Your future self needs you to show up to do the things that you said you were going to do. And I talk about, like, it really begins with the little things. Like, if you don't have the self-trust inside yourself to show up and do the things that you need to do, it's important that you start with the little things. Like, what little tiny promises are you making to yourself that you're breaking? And you and I had talked about the snooze button. Do you start your day by breaking a promise to yourself when you hit the snooze button 3 times? You set that alarm at 5 a.m. for a reason. Honor yourself and get up and do whatever the thing is that you said you were going to do. Because if you're not, you are sending a message to yourself that you aren't trustworthy. Mm-hmm. And if you can't be trusted to do the little things, the big things are not even going to ever enter the equation.
Right. And so I love the snooze button because we're all guilty of that. I actually was tempted this morning and I didn't do it. It's all because of you.
But like, I'm going to see Jen later.
And for all of you out there, you're welcome, because these things, they start to add up, and sometimes they can also erode your dignity. I know that for myself when I have been in those places where I'm not doing the thing, and then I feel kind of bad. I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm like, ugh, I can't believe I bailed on that. I just don't feel in right relation with even myself.
And I think that's your future self, like, kind of rising up and being like, hey, what about me? You kind of let me down here. Please don't do it again.
Yeah. So I'm going to take a pause for a minute because we have a question from Gina. I love this, but how do you manage mindset when process takes 3 times longer than expected? And would love to understand, Gina, what's the process that you're referring to? Just as an FYI, I don't think that's going to hold Jen back from answering, but I'm curious about what that is.
It doesn't. Nothing holds me back. You know me well enough. So I would say if things are taking you longer than expected, ask yourself, what are you making that mean? Mm-hmm. Because you have this mindset, you have this thought in your mind that it's going to take X amount of time and it takes longer. So it takes longer. You don't have to make that be a reflection of anything else. You don't have to make it be a reflection of how you don't know what you're doing, or you don't have the resources available, or you're struggling with confusion. You don't have to make it mean any of that, because that's all the loading the things onto us that we don't need to have. Okay. Mm-hmm. If it just takes longer, it takes longer. And you just keep working. What do they say? Slow and steady wins the race.
Slow and steady wins the race. And a lot of times, what seems like a long time, if you go back into your rearview mirror and your future self is thanking you, right? It's at that place where your future self is like hugging you and giving you all the love.
Yes.
It's worth the wait. It is worth the wait. So
because you're never going to get there if you give up.
Exactly.
You can't give
up. I love this. Starting the day with a snooze is the first way to give up on yourself. Mel Robbins talks about this a lot. Just count to 5 and get out of bed. Yes. And we're all talking about that. She said, did you notice the little quote behind Jen Laffin? That's energy, right? I love that too. So you're getting a lot of love on the snooze button. So I think that's a keeper.
Yeah, sorry guys.
So guilty of the snooze button. Hi, Cynthia and Denise.
Ooh, I know.
Snooze.
Yeah, I said nobody likes accountability, but we know the alternative, right?
Exactly. And thanks so much, Jack. So good to see you always. So what we're going to also talk about, and I think that this is like super crazy relevant now that you guys know the 3 things, I'm just going to repeat them because I think they're so good. Number 1, your goals are too realistic. Like seriously, you're just diluting that dream. Number 2 is, what was number 2 again? It's
don't believe every thought you think. Your doubt
doubt your doubt, right? Right? Doubt your doubt. Stop investing in all of the certainty around the doubt and probably repurpose that into the action of accountability.
Yes.
And then finally, enough with the letting yourself off the hook, right? Enough with that, because that's just another way to kind of get embedded in the lack of accountability. Oh, this is the best comment I've ever seen. Kirsten, I feel seen.
Thank you, Kirsten.
That's so good. That's so good. Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. Okay. Here is the intermission or the highlight of the show right here, right now. Tell us about the summer slide.
Woo, yes.
I love this.
Let's talk about that summer slide now that we are in the heart of summer, right? And the idea of the summer slide goes back to my time in the classroom. I used to be a 4th grade teacher, and we knew that if we couldn't get our students reading over the summer, that they would lose approximately 30% of their learning from the school year. Okay, so it was really important that we send them home with books. We make books very accessible to them so that they could keep building those reading skills. Even if their practice wasn't perfect, it was important that they just were practicing. The same thing applies to job seekers, to entrepreneurs, small business owners, solopreneurs, is we are in the heart of summer. We are now past the 4th of July. And one of the things I've been sharing a lot about on LinkedIn these last 2 weeks has been, take a look at where you're at in the year. If you are not at a place that you want to be, it is time to do something about it. Don't wait until September, because while you're not tending to your business or your job search, you are setting yourself back so that when September rolls around and you get back at it, not only will you have to tend from September forward, but you're also going to have to make up for all of that missed momentum because you chose to take the summer off.
Right.
And so, yeah.
And this is a little bit of a, not only a summer slide, but a slippery slope, right? Because we as in the job search world are not about suggesting that you grind. And I want to be very, very, very clear. We are not saying go slave, keep your head down, don't go to the barbecue. We're not saying that at all. What you are saying, though, is calibrate so that you are able to just not quit. And I would love for you to share the example that you talked about with respect to the chain, the Jerry Seinfeld.
Yes. And that, if I can speak first to the grind.
Yes, please.
Culture, because I think that's really important, because accountability also has a bad rap because people think that means grind, go 24/7. And that is not at all what I mean when I'm talking about accountability, because you can be accountable to yourself by giving yourself grace and honoring your truth. That grind culture, that's just going to burn you out. Nobody likes that. You cannot feel icky and get yourself to success. It just is not going to happen. So one of the things like that you and I had talked about was this concept, the Jerry Seinfeld, don't break your chain concept. And this is a really good concept. And what happened is Jerry was interviewed by someone who asked him, like, why are you such a successful comedian? And so he told him the story about how he has this calendar on his wall, and every day he has to write one joke. And his goal is, after he writes the joke, he puts an X on the calendar, and his goal is to never break that chain. And so the key here is that he didn't say I had to write a good joke.
Right.
He just said I have to write a joke, because that keeps that momentum going and moving yourself forward in some way. It is practice. We know practice has to come before we get to be proficient in something. And so while you're on summer, you don't have to be at 100%. You can still be at 60% and still keep momentum going. does not have to be perfect. Okay. It just has to be
consistent.
forward.
Right.
Consistent. Yes.
And, by the way, we are all conditioned to do this, right? Apple didn't create these rings on our phones for no reason. They stole that from Jerry. But the point is that this is a way for us to be able to look at that. And how many times have you seen people, do a little screenshot and go, look at my July, because that is a level of accountability. And I actually, I love that, because it doesn't say, sweat your butt off every single day. It says, stay active, reach your goals.
Yeah.
Oz has a question. So,
hi, Oz.
Integrate kindness for the unexpected, like a new client. What works for me is to not delete that task, but try again. Any pro tips?
So let me see. How do you integrate kindness for the unexpected? Like a new client, what works for me is to not delete that task, but try again. So again, this goes back to what I was talking about, giving yourself grace. And your plan and your goal is flexible. It is a working, like I consider it a working document. So if you do get a new client and you need to take things in a little bit different of a direction, it's important to give yourself the grace to do that, especially if it's a revenue generating activity. What I'm also want people to be aware of is when we let those things come onto our calendar that are not aligned with our goals, that are not aligned with our mission, and we let those things take us off track, that is not going to get you to success. So I would say definitely approach that with grace and follow that if that is a revenue or a purpose-driven opportunity for you.
Awesome. And then this one, I love it. This is huge, right? The chain concept is great. My chain for walking 10,000 steps is 347 days long.
Michelle.
That is insane. Only broke it last year when I had COVID. Totally get that. I need to start another one for this work.
I love it. I love
So
it. Yeah, I was out walking at 5:45 this morning so I could get my walk in so that we could do this morning, because I don't want to break my chain either. So
yes.
Good for you, Michelle. That's awesome.
All of these. And so I would love for you to explain, whether you're a solopreneur, entrepreneur, how people are able to work with you. And just, I'm going to put some of the details in the chat. But while I do that, please explain what that looks like in order to work with you. And what are the goals that you really love to dig into?
Ooh, yes. I love to dig into those, what we consider to be our impossible goals, are things that we have set for ourselves that we wanted to go and achieve. And maybe we don't have the background, we weren't raised to believe that we can do hard things. I love digging into things like that because I want to see everybody be able to achieve their dreams. So next week, I have a workshop called the Back on Track Workshop, which I know Lauren is putting the information in the comments as we speak. Earlier, I talked about if you are at the point in your year where you are not, necessarily thrilled about where you're at, get yourself into this workshop. It's just $99 and you're going to get so much value out of it. Seriously, $99. I wanted to make it accessible to everyone. And then I will be starting a group program in August, which I will have more information for that coming very soon. I also have a podcast. I have a podcast called the Flight School Podcast, Helping You Fly to Your Greatest Potential, where I talk about a lot of these things. And I actually am next week going to be dropping an episode about doubting your doubt. I have a couple other episodes about that now, but I actually take this process that I went through to create this new offer, and I listened in for those doubt thoughts and I wrote them down. And in the episode, I take and I pull each one apart and show you exactly how to doubt your doubt by using my doubt thoughts as an example. So,
I mean, this is just incredible. And it sounds so simple, right? It's always that way, right?
We make it difficult with our thinking.
Everybody would be doing it and nobody would be needing, to call themselves out on their accountability or lack thereof. And so I would love just for a finale of this show for everyone to put something in the chat that they are accountable for today.
Ooh,
And that way,
yes.
it will also help Jen to help you stay on track.
If
So
we are not connected on LinkedIn, please get connected. Every Monday, I put an accountability post out there, a call for accountability, saying, what are you doing this week that you want to be held accountable for? And like Lauren said, I check in on you. I check in on you in the middle of the week. I check in on you at the end of the week to make sure it's done. I see a couple of you.
You're really good to get stickers.
I do. I love
choose a teacher. I mean, I have them like all over my book. Just watch me.
Yes. Yes.
So no, but please, I don't even see anybody doing this. Are you guys like not going to be accountable even to this even to this live? Come on, no.
Come on, people, don't be afraid. We can do hard things.
We can. And so I'm gonna put mine in because I tell you that you know, while I was moving, there was like a laundry list of things that I just needed to knock out, and I needed Jen, like change my car insurance, find a new mani-pedi place, and now I'm gonna have to go find a hairstylist so I can get my hair cut eventually, and then also I need doctors.
I love it. Thank you for starting us off.
Yes.
Yes.
So thank you everyone for joining. I've missed you. I've really, really missed you guys. And so because of a lot of the expansion at Portfolio Rocket and a lot of great things that we have coming up and down the road, I will be doing LinkedIn Lives, but just not every Wednesday. I am going to be doing them every other Wednesday. So catch me then. I do really appreciate all of you. And if you haven't checked out my podcast yet, Career Blast and a Half, I am super stoked. And today we dropped an episode, I think he's still here, with the infamous Kevin D. Turner. So if you want to understand why you need to understand LinkedIn as a business, go listen to that right now.
So good. So good.
Yes. All right. Thank you, everybody. And Jen, just hang tight. I'm just going to end the broadcast, but you're not going away.
You're not going away. Bye, everybody. Thank you for coming today.
Bye.